I'm live tonight from East Lansing, Michigan. We start with breaking news today on the nation's top Republicans failing the most basic test of leadership. And it's coming to a head on two critical issues. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell refusing to say when he'll hold a vote on Loretta Lynch's nomination to be Attorney General, and House Speaker John Boehner refusing to say how he'll handle right-wingers trying to shut down the Homeland Security Department over the president's immigration action. Boehner still saying today he's just going to wait and see.
I don't know what the Senate can produce or what they can't produce. If they produce something, we'll decide what we're going to do after we see it. When I see what the Senate actually passes, then I'll know.
With respect, Mr. Speaker, that your answers about what you're going to do are the same as yesterday. Can Mitch McConnell has said exactly what he's going to do. You know exactly what you're going to get. It's going to be a clean DHS funding bill. You're going to put it on the floor? Are you going to kill it? Are you going to let him vote on it? Have you even had this discussion?
When we make decisions, I'll let you know.
What does that mean? Is a continuing resolution tied to...
That's just a kiss.
We're just 30 hours from funds running out, and he's blowing kisses at reporters. Today, Democrats asked where the grown-ups are in the GOP.
It was like an 8th grade civics class. I mean, what is going on in the House? We have the two leaders who haven't talked to each other in 2 weeks.
I would say, Harry, with all due respect to everything you said, I have a grandson in 8th grade, and his knowledge about how to pass a bill is superior to what we see among the Republicans there. It's about time for them to grow up and pass this bill.
Meanwhile, a Senate panel today finally sent Loretta Lynch's Attorney General nomination to the full Senate. But GOP senators like Ted Cruz are still trying to derail the nomination. And Senator McConnell still isn't saying when that full vote will even happen. Lynch has already waited 110 days to be confirmed, the longest wait in modern history. Will she have to wait another 110 days? These aren't hard tests, it's basic governing. But Republican leaders are failing them. In his special town hall event with MSNBC, President Obama talked about fighting through the delays and obstruction.
Every major social movement, every bit of progress in this country, whether it's been the workers' rights movement or the civil rights movement or the women's rights movement, every single bit of that progress has required us to fight and to push, and you make progress, and then you don't get everything right away, and then you push some more. And that's how the country continually gets better.
Joining me now are Margie Omero and Jason Johnson. Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here, Rev.
Margie, Speaker Boehner is blowing kisses. I mean, it would be comical if there weren't such serious issues at stake. What is going on?
Well, he doesn't really have an answer, and he's trying to stay calm. He looked calm. I guess he looked like he was having a good time. But really, he's trying to deflect attention from what is clearly a tense moment. And the polls suggest that the public is really going to blame Republicans if there's a DHS showdown. A CNN ORC poll from last week showed a majority of Americans would blame Republicans. Only a third, less than a third, would blame the president. That's actually fewer than blamed the president during past showdowns. So, I think there's going to be real consequences for Republicans who say, let's just drive off the cliff.
Jason, tonight, House Republicans are huddling behind closed doors, trying to come up with a plan to avoid a shutdown. Why is this so hard for them?
Because of ego. I mean, the Republican Party, I mean, they know how to win wars. They cannot figure out how to win a peace. They won the midterms in 2014. This is the House and Senate they've been screaming for since Obama got elected, and they can't figure out the basic mechanics of let's put forth an agenda we can actually pass. So, you know, we're going to get a continuing resolution. They're probably going to fund the Department of Homeland Security for another 3 or 4 weeks into March, but you're going to head back into the same problem. And the House and the Senate have to realize that they have an opportunity to govern here and not just keep throwing mud balls at the President of the United States. This is an idiotic plan to try and defund DHS from the beginning.
You know, Margie, I very rarely agree with Congressman Peter King, but even he's calling out his fellow Republicans for holding up funding. Listen to this.
Sometimes I think that the Republicans living in an unreal world. It's absolute insanity for the Republicans if we don't vote on a clean bill. And maybe if some of these people who are talking about how we have to hold this up, maybe if their state's been bombed, they feel a little differently. These people who say they're conservatives, who say they're Republicans, they're the ones who are really going to ruin the Republican Party.
I mean, is this insane? Why are they pushing for this then? I just don't get it, Margie.
Well, I think, you know, I mean, I mentioned there was a poll that showed people blame Republicans, but I think Republicans look at what's happened in past shutdowns and say, well, we went there, we took a hit, and then we had gains in the midterm, so there weren't any real consequences. Even though it's not just bad policy, it's bad politics. Gallup shows for month after month after month that the #1 issue facing the country that people are most concerned about is government dysfunction. That hasn't always been the case. It's a recent phenomenon, and it's a result of all this back and forth.
Now, I think, Jason, that the president really addressed this at the MSNBC town hall, rejecting the idea that Republicans and Democrats are equally to blame for the failure of a comprehensive immigration act that they've all tried to say is both sides. Listen to how he dealt with that.
The notion that Democrats and Republicans played political ping pong. Democrats have consistently stood on the side of comprehensive immigration reform. Let's not be confused about why we don't have comprehensive immigration reform right now. It's very simple. The Republican Speaker of the House, John Boehner, refused to call the bill.
Now, what do you say to that, Jason? Because this whole thing of equal blame the president's rejecting, Margie's quoting polls where the public is rejecting in terms of the Homeland Security funding as well as immigration.
Well, yeah, look, I mean, it's very clear who's to blame here. Now, Republicans can argue whether or not they like the president's immigration plan, and that's actually something they should really try to fight through on the court level. They shouldn't be holding up government agencies. They are clearly to blame. They have the hands on all the levers of government at this particular point. But I think, Rev, the real other issue here that we have to think about is it's only February. They've only been in office for about a month. And if they can't figure out basic things like this is a hopeless scenario for functional government for the next year and a half. And ultimately, because everything matters for 2016, this is going to hurt Republican candidates. I promise you we're going to see an ad next year with John Boehner kissing off the press, with a background story talking about these Republicans were going to kiss away Homeland Security and didn't care about your safety.
Margie, are they going to shut down Homeland Security? What's your prediction?
I mean, I hope they don't, right? I mean, I hope they don't. I think we've had a lot of close calls. On the other hand, what we've seen consistently as well is that there's a real faction in both the House and the Senate that is willing to put American government at risk, put the confidence in our institutions at risk, to put even their own party's views and the favorability at risk in order to just demonstrate that they can go against what the president wants. And it hurts all of us. It doesn't just hurt Republicans. It doesn't just hurt Democrats. It doesn't just hurt the president. It really hurts all of us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and with all of the threats and all of the anxiety, it's unbelievable that we're at the wire and they're still playing games. But let's move to Loretta Lynch for a minute. A Senate panel sent her nomination to the full Senate today, but still no word on when the Republicans will even schedule a floor vote. And we're now 110 days and counting, the longest delay in history since she was even nominated. I mean, Jason, this is incredible. We're talking about the Attorney General of the United States.
And see, and all of these things are connected, right? If you shut down Homeland Security, then we can't protect ourselves from terrorists. If you don't get a functional attorney general, then we can't prosecute terrorists. Oh, and by the way, we want to bring Netanyahu here next week. I mean, no one seems to be recognizing that not paying attention to national security issues is actually affected by these actions. I hope Loretta Lynch eventually gets confirmed. I understand what the Republicans' problems are with her, but at the end of the day, it is the president's attorney. Sure job is to find a way to make legal things that the president wants, just like Ashcroft, just like Gonzalez. They need to accept that and move on.
Well, and 110 days later, I mean, why do we have to wait 110 days for them to do what they did? There's nothing that was holding it up, nothing developed. 110 days later, they finally send it out. They could have done that 100 days ago. Margie Omero and Jason Johnson, thank you both for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.